Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Casey, and I work for Relentless Hope Ministry, which offers support for survivors of sex trafficking and ritual abuse. Today, I will be interviewing one of our survivors named Sharri. She will be sharing about her abuse growing up and how she has overcome many obstacles and found healing, freedom, and victory through Jesus Christ. Thank you for being here today, Sharri. I am so grateful you are giving your time and your energy to share your journey of healing with us.
Thank you, Casey, and hello, everyone. I'm so grateful for what the Lord has done for me. So I'm happy to help Relentless Hope
We are,
and other survivors.
yes, we are so grateful that Sharri is giving her time and energy today to do this interview. So, Sharri, to start things off, my first question for you today is, how did your abuse begin and what age were you?
Um, First off, I'd like to say that all of my abuse, other than when my dad had beaten me severely when I was around 13 or 14, I had no memory of any of it. And so my dad died in 1984, and I started to feel, I guess I felt safe enough. And I started to have like lots of crying and lots of emotions and years of that. And then I started to remember things that had happened to me, like as a child, even starting at the age of 2. And this was all through flashbacks and body memories and nightmares and just lots of feeling like terrified. And I've since learned that ritual abuse often starts in the womb. And I believe that it was multi-generational, which I'm kind of getting ahead of you, but I think that that was something that was my experience as well. And so, um, probably, during the time I was in my mother's womb is when my abuse started. And also, like, just I have definite memories starting from the age of 2.
Mm. So, can you tell me a little bit about your family and where you grew up?
Yes. Where I grew up was in Dubuque, Iowa, and my mom and dad, they had already had, I think I'm the sixth child, and then later they had a total of 10 children. But I was the sixth one. And my dad was a World War II veteran, and my mom didn't work. She was just busy taking care of all those kids. And my dad had lots and lots of uh, depression, anxiety. I saw him having times where he didn't remember who he was, or he thought he was a younger age, and he had a lot of problems um, all the years that I was being raised. And my mom, my mom's family lived in Stacyville, Iowa, and I believe that my grandpa, her dad, my mom's dad, was a Freemason. And so the family that I grew up in was Catholic, and we went to the Catholic church, and the family was very isolated, very closed, and I wasn't able to go do things like normal kids do. And there was just a lot of, like being, my family was just not like into emotions or, anything like that. So there was a lot of, my dad was an angry man, and it was always like, I was always feeling, and this is stuff I always remembered. I always felt like, let's not get him angry. I got to be good type thing.
So could you tell us who abused you and what places where you were you taken to?
Okay, so I have memories of my dad sexually abusing me, my mom sexually abusing me. When I went to school, a priest and a nun from the Catholic Church abused me. They were both Franciscan, from the Franciscan order. And then I was with the Catholic school. I was taken by bus with other children, not the whole class, but a lot of the kids from the whole, like the elementary grades, to a room in the back of a free medical clinic. And I was taken there for medical experimentation, programming, lots of torture, and being trained to be used for trafficking. And the other places I was taken, I have memories of being in cemeteries, being in the church basement. Like I said, the stuff with the priest and the nun, this would happen like, like going to the bathroom uh, at school and then being taken to a room in the school or in the church where I don't know how they got away with it, what they told other people, but, being taken into different rooms and lots of things done in the church basement, even like with other kids during the day. And then, oh, just like being taken during the trafficking years, which I believe I was 5 when that started, when I started being trafficked, being taken to hotels, being taken to big ballrooms and then small hotel rooms where I would have to do sex with multiple men.
Were your siblings also abused as well?
Physically, my brothers especially were kind of pushed around, a lot of angry stuff. Everybody just knew, like, let's not get dad angry. I don't know if any of my siblings were sexually abused or ritually abused. I really don't know that because I don't have specific memories of that. None of them have come forward saying that they've had any ritual abuse. I would think that I wouldn't be the only one.
What do they say when you've opened up about your abuse? Have they recognized that? Have they talked to you more about it, or are they ignoring you?
I have not had a relationship with any of my siblings for around 30 years. But I have a sister, Mary, who, within the last 7, 8 years, I tried to have a relationship with, and she said, we can have a relationship as long as you don't talk about your abuse. Because when my dad died and I started to remember things, and I was dealing with the physical abuse right at first, I tried to connect with my family, told them I was in therapy, didn't give very many details or anything, but I did share with my sister that I was dealing with the physical abuse, and then somehow they heard about that I was remembering sexual abuse, and so really haven't spoken to any of them to know what their life is like now, or if they've remembered any abuse.
Can you now describe how you were abused in a non-graphic way so that viewers can kind of get a grasp of what is involved with this type of trafficking and ritual abuse?
I would say there's two aspects to this type of abuse. Because my abuse was multi-generational at home, and I don't know what age this started, but I've had memories of my mother doing specific rituals, like morning rituals, where she would wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning telling me she was dying. And then doing sexual abuse. I won't go into any details, but then the belief that was instilled in me was that not only did I have to save her from dying, but if I did these things with her, that neither one of us would die. And it was just like, and then at night, like after being put to bed, I have memories of being like the way I would wake up at 10 o'clock every night, during the week would be it- I'm in a bathtub of water and I feel like I'm drowning. And she's trying to make me believe. by what she's doing to me, that I am dying. And she trained me with doing this over and over again, that as the water went down the drain, that meant I was I was gone and dead. And she did the same thing with toilet flushing and washing hands. And everything was about getting rid of me and making me believe that I was dying or dead, and that it was so important to pass this down, because not only was I supposed to save my mother, I was supposed to save my grandmother and anyone else that was still alive, but also there was this belief trained into me to pass it down, because everyone that had already died would somehow have life by, doing all this. And then, like the future generations. But okay, can you ask me the question again?
Yes, so can you describe how you were abused in a non-graphic way that can help viewers and listeners grasp what is all involved in this type of sex trafficking and ritual abuse?
Okay, so because I have DID, I know there were two aspects I was going to talk about. And so the one was what my mother did at home. And I mentioned that. And this is hard to talk about, because even though I have remembered it through memories and everything, it's like I was trained to leave my body and go away. So sometimes when I talk about it, it's like that's what's happening. It's like my mind is just trained to like want to leave. So the second aspect is that everything that was done to me then by the priest and the nun, and that at the church and the school, uh, and where I was bused to, that was to train me further into like rituals that included um, taking that further. Like, and I don't want to get too graphic, but like having being put through rituals where I'm made to believe that I died. And it includes like having a funeral and being raised from the dead, and just a lot of stuff that then went in, kind of went along with, I would say, like the satanic stuff, where then it's like these people are supposed to be my savior, but also then the belief is that was put in me, conditioned and suggested through multiple rituals and just lots and lots of years of training, was that Jesus had already died and there was no hope. And so they were the hope, and so was Satan. And so by force, I was made to accept that and accept him. And so then the training that was done away from home was to traffic me. But it all fit in together with what my mom was doing, because she trained me how to please men also. So it's all tied together and it all fit in.
And were you forced to watch people, babies, animals be sacrificed, or were you forced to participate in sacrifices?
I was forced to watch other children being abused. I was forced to watch people being murdered. Um, whether it was real or not, I didn't always know when I was having memories, because there was a lot of stuff that was staged, and with being drugged and having all the confusion, it's like, how does a child know? And as an adult, how do I know which memories were with the doll that had blood on it, or if it was a real baby? Or but I do believe they do follow through with, and I was forced to do things to other children, and I don't want to get into too many details, but that I was a part of that sort of thing, yes.
Mhm. So during this time, do you know if anyone noticed your abuse or tried to help you at all?
I don't think there was anyone that noticed, and there definitely was no one that tried to help.
This breaks my heart.
Yeah. Even at home with my mother, like I had some physical problems when I was around the age of 10. And when I would tell her, uh, that what was going on with me, she says it's probably nothing. And then I would tell her again, same thing, and I wouldn't be taken to the doctor. And speaking of doctors, I just want to touch on the medical experimentation aspect of it because the mind control projects where I was trained and programmed, um, there were Nazi scientists posing as doctors and doing all this medical experimenting. I don't understand why they were doing all of that, but a lot of it was to program me through torture and um, just to like just experiment and see what they could get away with. And evil is horrible.
So, how did you finally get out and find freedom from your abusers?
When my dad died, I believe that that was the start of getting out because when my father was no longer in the picture, I felt safer inside, and I started to thaw out emotionally and connect with emotions a little bit. And then that led up to then me getting a divorce from my first husband, who was very abusive as well. And when I did that, I thought it was just because my family was Catholic and you don't get a divorce. And so then my mother and my brother, John, they both helped in the court to get custody away from me. And so when I lost my three children for 2 years, because he did get custody of them for 2 years, I felt like God used that as a way to help me because I felt like I don't have anything here. I have a family that turned against me. I lost my children. They don't really want to see me because um, their dad was turning them against me, and so was my family. And so I left that area. I moved away, and I met the husband I have now before we got married. And I truly believe that my husband, Frank, is the person that God put in my life to show me love and to give me the support that I've had for ever since 1990, is when I moved away from there. So it's not like I made that decision, like I know what's happening to me, because I didn't. It's like God opened a door for me and I went through it.
Wow, I love that. It's just amazing.
Mhm.
Um, would you be able to share a little bit more on how you started opening that door to find healing as memories came and you started realizing your past? What were some of the things you did that were really crucial for your healing journey?
Yeah, before my dad died, I actually started to have some problems with a lady at work. I always was a people pleaser and I could get along with everybody. And so it wasn't working. And so I went to a therapist and she said to me, "You're the worst people pleaser I've ever met. If I told you, if I slapped you, you would tell me thank you and have a nice day." And at first I was a little bit offended and I thought I got angry a little bit and it was like, she was right. Uh, but anyway, she really helped me. No one had told me that I could say no. No one had told me I could ask for what I needed, and she told me you don't have to put up with that. And so I went from there to starting therapy and learning. The first time I went to therapy, I'll just make this quick. First time I went to therapy, uh, I would say to the therapist, it was a guy, I would say, it hurts. And he would say, what hurts? But I was so disconnected from me that I wasn't even able to say, I hurt or I feel sad or anything. So, anyway, but then I started going to a support group, still not knowing I had any type of abuse. And I felt built up. I felt like my self-worth was, like I connected with other people because my first husband too he even would take the phone out of the wall socket before he would leave for work, and I had no car or anything to go places. But I found out people liked me, and I found out that I was, I think that was like finding my humanity a little bit, you know, outside of a family system that was so closed. And so I had so many years of therapy that was crucial because, then when I did start remembering stuff, someone believed me and my family didn't. And so, and then reaching out to other organizations um, and having just, people around me. People is the big thing, and God. That was the biggest thing. And after having my husband Frank show me love, I was able to accept Jesus in the year 2000, and that was the biggest thing of all, is having him. And because ritual abuse causes like fear of Jesus because they use people posing as Jesus. Um, I don't need to say any more than that. But I had parts of me that were so afraid of Jesus, and I still have some parts that um, are able to read the Bible and able to pray, but I still have parts that are like, don't let me be alone and talk to Jesus.
Well, our final question for the interview is how has Relentless Hope helped you? And I know you have been an advocate for yourself for so many years. Like you said, different organizations that you've been a part of, reaching out and helping survivors on your own. And if you want to share more of that too in this question, you can as well. But would you share with us since you started with our ministry, how has that helped you on your healing journey?
Relentless Hope, and Casey, you and Cindy, but you especially, and then another lady that um, would take calls and let me talk. Um, Having someone listen, being believed, is so huge. And knowing that you are not a survivor yourself, and knowing that you were called by God, um, it really takes somebody that hasn't been through this to be able to handle uh, hearing about this. Because I was with a survivor the other day who really needed to talk, and she's actively being accessed, and I could hardly bear to hear what she was saying because it's like it brought up so much for me. So it does take somebody like you and Cindy and Relentless Hope to be able to be with the survivor. And I really think that the support that you have given me and others, uh, and seeing what you're doing, like you're joining with God in this fight. And it has given me so much hope. I love the name Relentless Hope because this is what I've prayed for. For 8 years, I was praying that there would be other people joining in this fight for survivors. And it's happening right before my eyes. And knowing somebody like Relentless Hope is out there doing what they can, not just to hear survivors and believe them, but to talk to people in the political arena, doing a vigil. I saw that on the YouTube video, having people like Jason Preston and his wife Alexia and others that I don't know their names, but all of what you're doing is priceless. And my hope for Relentless Hope and for all the survivors that need the support, that you're giving them is to have continued funding, because what you are doing is so important for the people that are still caught in this, for the people that are needing to get out of it and they need someone to be there, and even if it's just being there, to have our voices be heard. They need healing, they need resources, and just like the support groups that you do with, I went through the Body Keeps the Score part of that with you, and it helps to have an advocate. Yes, I'm an advocate for myself and I'm an advocate for others, but because I'm a survivor and you're not, when a survivor and then another survivor and another joins with what you're doing, it is so amazingly powerful to have the numbers. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is from my heart. I hope that people will give donations, because the fight it takes to get out of this, and the money that is spent for therapy and inpatient, and just the people that don't believe survivors or that this exists. It's like evil is as evil as it is, and people don't want to hear it. So my hope and my prayers is that people will donate, and your organization will be able to continue to do what you're doing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sharri. It's been a privilege for me to get to know you. And as I tell all of my survivors, I appreciate when you share, because I learn more from what you've experienced, what future survivors may need. Every time you share your story, I am learning more. But at the same time, I'm also seeing the same connection. Survivors who don't know each other from different states, different parts of America, it's all lining up. And it breaks my heart, but at the same time, I feel anointed and empowered by Jesus Christ that he has called us for such a time as this. And survivors are rising up and they are using their voice. They are finding healing. They are finding there are groups like ours. We're not the only one out there offering healing and support and a safe place for you to land. And thank you for helping change my life and making me the person God wants me to be. So thank you, Sharri, for your friendship and your help in my life, how I can support survivors better.
Thank you, Casey. And on behalf of all the survivors out there, I want to thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sharri, for letting me interview you today and for sharing your incredible story of healing. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this interview. All of us on staff at Relentless Hope Ministry want to thank you, listeners, for being willing to learn about these difficult issues and for praying for us and survivors and for supporting us financially. And we pray that Jesus will speak to your heart today about how you can be a part of our ministry, whether you feel led to join us as an advocate, helping survivors directly, to support us financially, or to pray for us regularly, which we need so desperately. We appreciate every single one of you, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hear about these issues and learn ways that you can be involved. God bless you, everyone.
Thank you.